It all depends on what you want to play the most. If you're trying to be optimal, then, I would suggest looking at another streamer or YouTuber's opinions on this. I'm very set in my ways, and I think just play whatever you want. If you want like high damage dealing class, but you sacrifice that for being a little, class cannon, Storm and Fire are your classes that you want to go for. If you want really good support classes, I would go with Life, Balance, or Death. Balance is is a rougher class to play compared to Life and Death. Life, you just get all the heals and everything like that. Death, you get life steal. Death is definitely the easy class to run. You don't really have to do much in terms of anything with the class, and it is also one of the top support classes. Balance is one of the harder classes to play for the simple fact that you don't get any prisms against your own class type. Every other school gets a prism that transfers their damage into the opposing element's damage. So like Storm goes into Myth, Life goes into Death, Fire goes into Ice, and vice versa. Balance doesn't have anything like that. However, they do have multi-school class spells. You have your spirit spells, and then you have your elemental spells. Elemental spells are fire, ice, and storm. Spiritual spells are myth, life, and death. But it is one of the harder classes to play if you're going through like a solo playthrough, or if you're just, questing with friends. Even doing some of your solo quest missions for your spells, those are pretty rough too. But you kind of combat that with the different support items that you have. Healing, you get an early AoE, compared to like Life and Ice, you don't get early. Well, you do get an early AoE with Ice, but it's not that great. Life is the only class I think you don't get an early AoE unless you farm or buy Rat Spin. Ice would be considered like your tank class, but you have a really low damage. Once you get higher, the damage gets a little bit better, and you get some harder hitting spells if you know how to buff them right. And the Myth is kind of one of those classes where it's like, it's middle of the road. You do really good damage since the rework, but it doesn't really have a lot of its identity because it's one thing for its identity is its minions, and the minion and even NPC AI in this game is really rough. So it's not exactly worth unless you buy like a crown minion thing, but even then, it's completely up in the air. Yeah, if Myth got minions from the other schools, I think it would be a lot better, but being they're just specifically Myth minions only, it's not that great. But it still hits like a truck.